if it's a worthwhile investment, the risk will hurt before you get the return. People don't realize like when you have to spend more to get more, because that's what makes that thing more valuable. So before working with Mehdi, October we had made around $6,500, November around $6,500. This year we've made $58,101. We made more money in the first month of Q2 than all 3 months of Q1.
And the craziest thing is most people at 500 followers don't believe that they can't acquire clients. I might only have 6,000 followers, but we still cash in over $100,000 a month. Using your disadvantages and turning them into advantages is a very, very powerful thing. People that have massive followings they get comfortable with the idea of like clients coming to them, but they forget to focus on the most important thing in their business, which is
if you have anything other than a content service, that follower count doesn't mean shit. Pretty sure clients have either come directly from that video or come as a result of seeing it and gaining more trust, and then with that trust, signing on.
It's a cheat code. I don't know how long it's gonna work for, but it's something, again, like you tap into. And I think most people misunderstand the fact that when it comes to growing to the next level and scaling, they need to have all these skill sets.
If you don't master these things that are still necessities to sustaining and growing a business, the business will fail.
All right, what's going on, everyone? I got a man, the myth, the legend. Carson raps content. He does exactly what's in his name. He raps his content, which is probably the first guy I've ever seen rapping content, man. I think Carson and I met about last year. It was after the mastermind. I remember I flew in Devon for the mastermind, and we pretty much started having a conversation, man. And I want to say, bro, first and foremost, you've absolutely smacked this motherfucker out the park. You've got some crazy results, and I'm just excited not only in this client interview to share your wins, but to also show other people like what's possible when they put their heads down and work. Let's take it away, man. By the end of this video, I don't just want to share your wins. I want to give a lot of value to people that also want to grow on Instagram, that also want to get a lot of clients, and more importantly, scale and grow their businesses, because that's exactly what we do. Bro, real quick, like just a little bit on like how we met. Like how did you come across my profile? How did we end up meeting, man?
About a month after I joined Devin's mentorship. So this was somebody that, like Mehdi said, he flew out to his event because Devin was helping Mehdi with his content. And then he ended up launching a new Done With You program that I ended up joining because I knew that Mehdi was originally a client of Devin. And I saw Devin was on Mehdi's page, which made me think about like, okay, like obviously Devin was teaching inside of Mehdi's mastermind, like it's probably some valuable things that Devin talked about. So wanted to get a little bit more of a spill on what Devin spoke about at Mehdi's mastermind, like just the content side. I realized like, okay, like even though Devin may have given some value inside of the mastermind, like based off his presentation, I think Mehdi, which I mean, you never know nowadays, like people have appointment setters, but I specifically remember like within the DMs, I'm pretty sure like it was Mehdi. He was pretty much telling me about like my VSL and like, do you should implement this. Like I have a training about this, which, that isn't so common nowadays, I would say. If you reach out to somebody, they get, you get a resource, but you might not be fully interested in what somebody else has to offer yet. It's mainly just expressing like, it might not be like you want that person's full program. You might just want a piece of it, right? And for me, it was the piece of the experience of like the content side. But then when he opened my eyes, like, okay, like you should implement this with your VSL, which at the time I didn't even have one. I think it was literally just a Calendly form, and it was like maybe like a YouTube client interview or something like that. So I didn't have a VSL, which is a booking page in the interview, right? But not an actual video sales letter. For me, like most times I don't really need to be taught. It's more so I need to be reminded, which is like everybody. So I'm not special, or I'm not gonna act like I know everything. But for me, it was a reminder that I needed to be reminded of, and I was like, okay, like let me take some action. Let me implement what I need to implement, which I actually did. Maybe about a few days later, I scripted out a VSL word for word because Evan had already taught me about short form scripting. So I already did what I need to do with the long form scripting, like using the framework that Mehdi taught with like how you should outline it. Got that done probably within like 3 days. I think maybe max a week. He kept me accountable to doing it. So I did the VSL. That was before even joining, scripted it. I think I also filmed it a little bit too. And then over time, like as I was continuing to just implement the advice, he started to realize like, even though the VSL is one part, I still can acquire a lot more clients, charge higher ticket, restructure my offer, and improve my ability to make more money, right? Because at the time, like, I was posting content, and Devin obviously teaches us about content, but about a month into joining his program, I'd actually gotten less clients than I was getting before joining his program, because I was going to events, but with events, when it's in person, that might be something that happens not 1 month and then there's no events the next month. So you're relying on something that isn't reliable, which that can't be anything you rely on. You know, obviously Mehdi told me about doing something that's more reliable, right? Like, obviously teaching me certain strategies to acquire clients, teaching me how to do it myself, and then eventually scaling, having other people do it for me so that I can reliably keep scaling and keep growing my business.
Real quick, bro, I got a question for you. I mean, I think one thing that you said that was very, very interesting there is you was already a part of a high ticket program, and you spent, I'd say, over 5 figures to invest into your previous coaching program and mentorship where you were specifically learning about content. Most people in your shoes, you know, pretty much just go out there and say, oh, you know what? Like, I've already invested a lot of money into a course or a program and da-da-da. Like, I don't need to go out there and invest into myself. What made you decide, like, okay, you know what? I'm learning from one person, but it's still important to go out there and invest into myself and learn from someone else?
The reason why is because if you invest into like a program, right? Like, people will say like, oh, I invested 5 figures. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter the investment, right? Like, every investment that you make, if it's a worthwhile investment, the risk will hurt before you get the return, right? So it's like, if you have a stock and you know that is a really, really good stock to invest in, or you have a real estate property and you know that it's a really, really good real estate property that you want to get, like prime area, the price point matches up, you know that it'll appreciate in 3 to 5 years. If you know that that's a really, really good piece of property, it's probably going to be expensive. Like, it's probably gonna, because if everybody's bidding towards it, well, then the sellers are gonna keep raising the price. If it's really good, that's what happens all the time, right? Like, of course they're gonna raise the price if everybody wants the property. So people don't realize, like, it's actually ignorant to think that you can spend less to get more when you have to spend more to get more, because that's what makes that thing more valuable. The fact that other people want it. If other people value something, the value of it must be higher, which means that the price will be higher to get that said value. So if you're somebody that, you know, you want to get to the next level, for me, I would consider me as somebody that does want to, not just with my words, but my actions. Devin is somebody I invested in, obviously. You know, his mentorship, teaching people how to grow their business on the back of, you know, short form content. But at the end of the day, what I also realized is, like, if you have a really good program, that person isn't going to teach you everything. They're going to teach you everything they know about one thing, not one thing about everything, right? They're teaching you how to be a master of one, not a master of none. But a master of one is still not a master of all, because if you master one thing in business, like you master content creation, but you don't master content conversion, you don't master client ascension, you don't master client retention, you don't if you don't master these things that are still necessities to sustaining and growing a business, the business will fail. You as a content creator might succeed, but even if you have a lot more balance with content, the business is still in balance, which the business has to have balance. And there's more aspects of business than just one thing.
100%, bro. And I couldn't have said it better myself, because even myself, one of the things that I always do is I find the expert within one area. Someone's really good at sales. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best at ads. I might need to go to a different guy to acquire that skill. And I think most people misunderstand the fact that when it comes to growing to the next level and scaling, they need to have all these skill sets. And the reason that they aren't is because there's a massive skill deficiency there, right? So I think what you had pretty well dialed in is, like, your content looks sick. Like, bro, there was no one doing what you were doing within the content space. But just to touch on that, like, I think the mistake that so many guys make, especially when it comes to content creation, is they believe the content is going to do all the conversions, which you and I both found out clearly wasn't the case, right? So we worked on building the right sales systems and so on and so forth. Now, like, where you're at right now, how many followers do you have, by the way?
34,000. Yeah. Nice. I'm a little over 34,000.
Sick. So congratulations, man. Literally, your followers are going up in the thousands every single week. And the question I want to ask you, I think this is the point that's going to be so helpful to so many different people. When we first met, what was your follower count?
October 27th, I hit 500 followers. January 6th, I hit 600. So it took me 2 months and some change to hit another 100 followers. So I was at around like probably like 550, 570, 580-ish when we met. Yeah.
Yeah. And the craziest thing is most people at 500 followers don't believe that they can't acquire clients. Now, I remember you made a post about this inside of the school community, but after implementing like some of the conversion strategies, the VSL and all the things that we implemented, how much did you generate with just 500 to 600 followers?
So when we were at 600 followers in the month of January, we cash collected that month about 8.7 thousand. So a little under 9,000 that month collected.
That's crazy, bro. That's sick. So, and what would you say to a lot of people that are thinking like, oh man, I have a small follower account. Maybe I can't generate cash flow or sales with such a small following?
Depends on the person that says that. I mean, if they say that and they were in my same position, I can empathize. And what I mean by that is like, if you have a service where like you have like a done for you content agency service and your goal is to get your clients more followers through the content that you put out for them, I could understand if somebody has some type of imposter syndrome or feels like an imposter if they're selling a service that isn't working for them, but maybe still working for their clients. If their clients may have the expertise, they just don't have it yet, right? I could see that. So I'll say two answers to that. If number one, if you have anything other than a content service, that follower count doesn't mean shit. Because realistically, like you could be the best, but the best kept secret, and that's the type of clients I sign.
I think I remember even we put that in your VSL, the best kept industry's best kept secret. I remember that.
I think it is in the VSL because I'm working on it now. Now that I've cut my hair and I have editors, like we're working on another one. That's gonna be done probably at the end of this week. I think I said it again because it's true. Yeah, if you got somebody, I mean the follower account, like let's say you are somebody that you do taxes, right? And you're just like the industry's like best tax professional. You know, you save people money every single year, but nobody knows you. Well, that might be the case. Even if you don't have a lot of followers, your service could be good, but nobody sees it. So that's very possible.
And on that topic, bro, I think using that to your advantage massively helps. Because one of the things that I constantly push in my ads, in my VSL, even on my sales calls is the fact that I might only have 6,000 followers, but I have a fully booked sales calendar. I might only have 6,000 followers, but we still cash in over $100,000 a month. So using your disadvantages and turning them into advantages is a very, very powerful thing, which you did in the beginning, which is sick. But now that you have like a bunch of followers, you can say, well, here's how I grew from 500 followers to over 30,000 followers in, how long was it? Like a month, 2 months?
For me to go from 500 to 1,000, it took like 5 months. So to get to extra 500 followers, 500 to 1,000, it took 5 months. To go from 1,000 to 34,000, it took 6 weeks. Compound effect, yeah.
Exactly, compound effect and just more input. Because regardless, like whenever you saw yourself growing at a pretty slow pace in the beginning, you didn't give up. You just kept to it. And one thing I massively respect about you, bro, is your mindset. Like one thing I've noticed about you as a client, and this is one piece of advice I want to give to anyone that's watching this client interview as well, is whenever you make investments, like someone like Carson invested $20,000 plus into his education, which most people are shit scared to do, right? But you did that knowing that the results were very, very slow in the beginning. You saw some progress, doubled down, stayed consistent, and just went through it, which I got massive respect for, bro. And on that note, bro, I've got another question for you, which is this. So when we was working together, like one of the things I want to ask you is, one of the things that we worked on doing was the pin videos, right? So you had a few pin videos kind of before. And one of the things that I remember like we did on one of our sessions was recreate your best pin videos, recreate them in different formats. And we kind of planned out like one of the pin videos, which is what it's like to hire me. Now you obviously went to the creative board and scripted out the video and made it look sick. What kind of views is that video on now? And what kind of impact would you say those pin videos have had?
I will say that alone was probably one of the most valuable pieces of advice I could have taken that month. Not even like gotten that month, but taken that month. Cause I actually went the effort to take that advice. So the story behind the pin video. So, what Maddie's basically talking about is like, let's say you're somebody that's on Instagram. Instead of pinning your most viral video, like a lot of people do just because it has the most views, you want to pin the video that you want people to view the most because they're going to naturally do it anyway. Right. So for me, being somebody that's a business owner, like I want people to pin the video that explains my services, what I do, how I help, who I help, etc. And Maddie told me, hey, like this girl, she made a video that explains what it is like to hire her, right? Onboarding call, research, scripting, filming, editing, the whole nine. I'd already made, actually, to your point, Maddie, I'd already like made the song. So that was the easy part. Like I'd already made the song. It was mixed. It was mastered, the whole nine. It had just been a while since like I had made it, because I was in a transition period. Like I actually had stopped doing the type of content I do now, which is the rap content. I wasn't doing that anymore. I was more so focused on like just education, like raw tips. But when he said do it again, I was like, well, fuck that. Like I don't want to like script a whole new video. Like I'll just do the rap. Like it's already done. Like I could just lip sync. That's less work. So I just went the option of doing less work, but it worked out more. Less work actually worked out more, because I just, I lip synced the video. I was in India at the time, wanted to give my editors a little bit extra work, because I think they weren't really getting that much work, because we weren't signing too many clients that much. Gave it to one of the best guys on the team, who cooked it up, posted it. I was in LA at the time, so I went from India to LA because my client flew me out. I posted it literally in LA on March 24th. I'm looking at the date, and then it started to get a lot of traction. I was at around like 880, maybe 890 followers when I posted that video March 24th. I think it was like a day later, we hit 1,000 followers. So I had gotten like 100 followers from that one video, like quick, right? So then I had 1,000, then I had 1,100. Now that video is at 100,000 views, 110,000 to be exact. And it's a VSL, like it's actually like a mini sales video, which is like mind blowing to me. And I'm running it as a retargeting ad. We've gotten a lot of Typeform applications because of that video. I have to maybe do the tracking, but I'm pretty sure clients had either come directly from that video or come as a result of seeing it and gaining more trust. And then with that trust, signing on. So,
100% video. That's fucking sick. And it's so crazy because most people overlook this shit, right? It takes one idea that you execute and bro, it's at 100,000 views. And that's one thing I'm massive on, and I stress all the time, is build more conversion assets. Even one of the things that I think we spoke about on our session is, whenever people come to your profile, there's 3 questions that they ask themselves. A, who the hell are you? What makes you any other different to anyone that's offering the same service? In your case, like a content agency. And C, how do I know if you can help me? And you strategically answered all those 3 questions in that one video. Done so well that you ran it as a retargeting ad, which is absolutely fucking incredible, man. So that's sick. Congratulations on that win. I'm looking forward to seeing more wins. On that topic, I want to say as well, one of the things that we broke down in some of our sessions is trial reels. Pretty much a strategy, which is re-uploading some of your most successful and winning pieces of content as trial reels. How would you say that's worked out for you, by the way?
So it's something that I tried, and it's a really good strategy because it's pretty much a no-risk way to get more rewards from the same content that you've already made, right? It doesn't even cross my mind to implement the strategy, which I should, because I post literally every day. I got a post right now that I actually need to post for a brand that's paying us every month. So I'm gonna make the mini chat flow after this shit and post it. But it's really powerful just because the worst mistake you can make on Instagram is continuing to repost videos, remake videos, remind people about something, or remind people about something that they've already seen before that they don't need to be reminded of again. It's like a music artist that they make the same song and you're like, all right, I want something different. That doesn't make any sense. Right. With trial reels, that possibility goes away because you only are reaching strangers that don't follow you. You can just continue to attract the same type of person that would be attracted to you, but it's just a different person.
Yeah, it's a cheat code. I don't know how long it's going to work for, but it's something, again, you tap into. And the funny thing is, bro, the story behind that, and I think I shared this with you in our session, is I learned that through going to another mastermind that I paid over $5,000 for. And there was a bunch of shit that they taught, but that was one of the things I took away, and it's drip feeding it back. So I think that's super important, because whenever you learn from certain people, or you work with certain people, if they're constantly investing into themselves as well, you're going to learn things that you never even sign up to learn, which is sick, right? Quick fire question round. We'll keep it short, answers 1 to 2 sentences long. Number 1, what do you feel like your biggest takeaways were from, working together one-on-one, would you say?
Never stop selling. Yeah.
And how would you feel like that piece of advice has impacted your business?
We made more money in the first month of Q2 than all 3 months of Q1. Was continuing to sell and never stop selling.
Because I think a lot of the time, mistake most content agency owners make, or, people that have massive followings, is they get comfortable with the idea of clients coming to them, but they forget to focus on the most important thing in their business, which is client acquisition. Second question I want to ask is, how much have you made total, through working with us over the past I'd say give or take 5 months, man.
This was before Christmas of 2025. So before working with Mehdi, I had made $17,575. So this was October. We had made around like 6,500. November around 6,500. December was like a down month. That was before working with Mehdi. After Christmas, so this was, I'll just say year to date. This year we've made $58,101. Yeah.
Congratulations, my guy. I need to get you a plaque sent out. When you hit your first 6 figures mark this year, I'm going to get a plaque sent out. So,
yeah, probably by Q2, but in the Q2 we'll probably make 6 figures.
5-figure investment, $58,000 something in return.
Mm-hmm.
That's
because I signed on before the start of the year. So yeah, we made 58.
That's ahead of the start of your investment, man. Where can I buy my coaching program?
Tap in with Mehdi. He'll have an affiliate link for me. And he might give you some extra value because you're coming through the link. He might just give you a gift signing on.
Carson will make you viral in return. And then 2 last questions, bro. What is the number one piece of advice that you would give to someone that's afraid of investing into themselves and you know, working with even someone like myself or even a different coach or a mentor? You know, what is the biggest piece of advice that you would give someone like that?
Most people are afraid to invest in themselves because they're forced to invest in themselves. Most people are being used to being invested into, right? Like if you grew up for your first 18 years of life, your parents were consistently investing into you, right? They invested time into making sure you were okay. They invested money into you going to school. They invested their belief in you, like, oh, you can be this, you can be anything you want. When you're forced to believe in yourself without having anybody else believe in you, your parents don't believe in you, your girlfriend, boyfriend doesn't believe in you because they say that this shit's a scam and they never become a millionaire when you want to become a millionaire. Like when you're forced to believe the one thing that no one else does, that's when you're tested. And most people just can't pass the test. So the people that do pass, that's the people that don't look up to you.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. And you've seen it. I've seen it. Everyone that's successful within our space, whether it's content agencies or in the info space, no one has got there without investing into themselves or working with someone more experienced in some sort of realm. You know what I mean? And I'm sure, like, as the months go on, bro, you're going to invest more money into yourself through different mediums, whether it's books, courses, like mentorship, masterminds, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So,
I already have.
Absolutely, man. So, Carson, with that being said, bro, once again, massive fucking congratulations on all the success. Excited to see Carson Raps content at 100K followers and $1 million cash collected soon.